Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Melina from Me Crafty Scrapper on Instagram and here on YouTube. Today is another episode of Scrap Your Stash Sunday, and I'm trying something a little bit different with voiceover. I haven't done this in a long time, so I'm hoping it goes over well. I am focusing today on this paper pack that I've had in my stash for a long time now. It's from Webster's Pages and paper punches. So that's our two focuses today. If you have any suggestions on a future Scrap Your Stash Sunday focus or technique, let me know. I apologize for the yellowing of lighting here in the very beginning of the video because this paper has a gold full top finish, and that's the reasoning for that yellowing, and it will go away shortly when I finish with those papers. I am starting with a piece of navy cardstock. Everything you see today is from my stash, and this craft piece of cardstock that I'm cutting down to 11 by 11, and I will place that on top of that navy cardstock for a good mat. Now these pictures are from our son's 8th grade graduation, and to tell you how far behind I am on scrapbooking, he has already graduated from high school in 2019. But we're all behind on scrapbooking, so I'm not feeling guilty about that. You saw there I was measuring that picture. I always like to do that because some of my pictures come back from Walgreens or wherever that I order them from, and they aren't true 4x6, so I'll have to make sure that my white mat that I'm putting behind them measures correctly before cutting. And if you have pictures of yourself that you know that you don't like, go ahead and scrapbook them anyway. I don't particularly like this picture of myself. I was heavier than I should have been. I'm still heavier than I should be. But, you know, it's a picture of my son and my husband, and I want to scrapbook them. So stop being so hard on yourself and just scrap the picture already, you know. So here I am putting that piece of craft cardstock on top of the navy cardstock and figuring out how I want my pictures laid out. Then I'm going to get that paper from that paper stack, and I will be cutting these into strips measuring 1.5 inches by 4 inches. This is something different I haven't done before, but out of a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, of course, you will get 3 if you just do one row. So it's a 1.5 tall and then 4 inches long. I'm going to do that with all 4, I think, of the pattern papers that I chose from this stack to use on this page. And my old faithful measurement is using my fingernail. And then I've got the little guide on the piece of paper. Of course, you can do this on your paper trimmer. I just find it easier and more accurate when I'm doing it that way. Now, I'll be lining up these pieces of paper a little differently, kind of like a Tetris board, if you've ever played Tetris on the computer. Kind of like that, and I'm going to move them around quite a few different ways. I'll sit and move and tinker and move and tinker, and then think, nope, too much blue, and I'll move that around. But this is how I am going to lay it out anyway. You can see there's a little bit of a crease in between each showing, a little bit of that craft showing, so it's kind of like laying tile and making sure you get your grout lines right. Now, this is not perfection by any means, but I am getting them lined up inside of that craft border there. I also apologize if you hear anyone mowing a yard in the background. They just started that as I started doing my voiceover, and I really need to get this video uploaded, so we're just going to keep going with it. Now here's where I am overthinking blue paper and wondering if I need to change that around, and I will in a moment. Now any other time these papers I don't think would go together, but with that brown gem floor I thought it all went really well, and my son wearing the blue that he is, and then us wearing the black, I thought it all went pretty well together and went really well with the theme, with it being a graduation, having the stars and confetti and things like that. So that's why I went with this paper pack for these pictures. And here I'm laying that last strip of paper that I cut from the pack and figuring out how I want my pictures lined up. Now I'm going to use the T-square to get that lined up right, or so I thought, but of course, as with everything, what I laid out on those strips is not perfection, so even the T-square didn't help me because of my own faults. So I will fix that in a moment, but I'm trying to get it as straight as possible. It's not going to be perfection. Like I always say, if I strive for perfection, it never happens, so let's just go with it. I am getting out some foam puffy words that I've had in my stash for a while from Felicity Jane, and I haven't had anything to use this on, but this I thought went really well. I like how that looks there, and there's a little heart with an open part at the bottom I thought was cute, so I was putting it there by our family picture. Bethany's not in that picture. She was in class herself since his graduation was during the day at school. I'm adding some alphas here that are gold, and they're kind of puffy, but they're cardstock alphas, really pretty. And then even more alphas. I like these. They're tiny little squares that take a little time getting them lined up correctly if you're wanting to get it just perfect like I try to. Those are from Webster's Pages. I've had for so long, I don't even know if they even still make them. I decided to add some journaling there beside Aaron's graduation photo, his cap and gown photo. It says Aaron's 8th grade graduation and his school name. And then I will add some more journaling there beside our family picture before I call this layout done. When there are men in your pictures, it's a lot easier to finish a page, in my opinion, because it doesn't need all the doolollies that some of the more feminine pages need. And I will have still photos here at the end of the video. No worries if you want a closer look. You can see those still photos there at the end. Giving myself a thumbs up because I believe I am done, and you are getting 2 layouts today on Scrap Your Stash Sunday. Here are some more pictures from that same day. It's just the little reception that they had for them. He's got some gifts and things, and I decided that this page was going to be a little busier than that page we just finished. I am starting with a piece of that pattern paper from the stack in 12 by 12, and then I'm cutting this white piece of cardstock 11.5 by 11.5. So I'm just giving myself that 1/2 inch and so you'll only see just a little bit of that paper in the background. Now, if this paper were to be some paper I wanted to save, I would turn it over and cut out a big square in the back, but I'm wanting to use this paper up, so I'm good with just leaving it as one big sheet on that back. I am using my Creative Memories square punch to punch some squares. Square punches squares. That's usually how that works. Anyways, I'm getting those squares punched, and I think I actually cut 16 of each pattern, or 16 blue and then 16 of the pattern. And then I am cutting them in triangles, so corner to corner on your cutting system, whatever you use, your paper trimmer. And make sure you hold down that guide up top, because if you don't, that happens and it goes all wonky and you have to get another one and punch another square. So I realize when I'm lining up my trowel baseline there at the bottom of what I'm wanting to do, that my pictures up top need to be a little bit smaller, just so everything can fit right and not overlay on this border accent that I'm wanting to set up here. So I start lining up my triangles, and then I'm going to turn the other ones upside down and line them up so there is a triangle type border all around the page on the edge of that white cardstock. Then I'm going to add my pictures to this piece of paper from the stack that's just a little bit bigger than what the pictures are lined up. Now, if you want to do mitered corners with those triangles, this technique, go for it. I didn't take the time to measure out and see if I needed to use a smaller or a larger square, but I'm good with how it looks. I'm punching some craft, just a small piece of craft cardstock with a circle punch to get just a little bit more dimension and break up all the square and triangle theme of this page. And I will eventually journal on that one circle. I have found that when you add accents, if you'll add them in odd numbers, it's more appealing to the eye as far as getting the viewer's focus on everything. So with these circles, I'm adding 5. And then in a minute, I'll add another accent, and it'll be in a 5 group also. I'm going to put this photo collage on with some score tape, just because it's got some dimension and the circles behind it. That way it stays really well, a little bit better than the ATG would. So I'm using that little pickup tool to get that backing off, and I'll line that up, and then I'm going to add some of these Felicity Jane foam alphas that have a gold accent to them. I thought went really well with the papers that I've used. Now, if you have these in your collection, in your stash, you will want to make sure of where you put them, because it's the last place you will put them. They stick really well. And when I get this down, the A is not exactly where I want it. It's kind of tilted over some, but it's not moving. I try at the very end and it's just not moving. So wherever you put them, they're staying. This is a white jelly pen that I'm writing on that craft cardstock, and I just love that look. I love the look of using a white gel pen on dark cardstock on a dark background. It looks really good. I love that. And Aaron J did do it. He did really well with this little ceremony they had that day. Here are some epoxy dots I'm adding, And I will, of course, add them in a group of 5 just to have that odd rule. And they're gray, black, and white, or an ivory color. I thought went really well with his suit since it is a black or a charcoal color. And there I go trying to fix that A, and it's just not moving. And it's going to leave residue if I keep on, so I'm good with it. I'm going to call this layout done. Here is some up close, and of course I will have a still photo at the end for you to look at. And you get 2 pictures or 2 pages out of Scrap Your Stash Sunday today. How about that? I love it, using that same collection, paper pad collection. Here's a look at the first one we finished, and I appreciate y'all so much for stopping by. Thank you for coming back over and over to my YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. Bye.